What's up, friends? It's Full Fire Core. Welcome back to Pokemon Showdown. Now, I've been requested to make a tutorial on Pokemon Showdown, so I'm going to split this series up into 3 parts. The first part is going to be basic menuing, what it means, what is Pokemon Showdown, and basically all the beginning stuff. The intermediate is going to be focusing on more advanced team battling, building, and just more competitive. And then the final one is going to be the advanced. Now, I'm not advanced inside this game, so I'm pretty much going to recommend you other sources to get more information. But let's get into this. So, to start it off, you have to make a Pokemon Showdown account. Now, that is extremely easy. As you see right here, this is me. If you want, you could search me up on Pokemon Showdown and challenge me, but I'm not online too much. So, making a team is pretty easy. I don't even think you need to link it with an email. You just put in your name, and then you put in a password, and then you have to confirm that you're human by typing in Pikachu, because they want you to identify the Pokemon, and I'm pretty sure it's always Pikachu. But after you do that, you're in the game. So what do you do? Now, you have your settings, which is quite important. You can change your avatar up into any of these beautiful Pokemon side characters, main characters, opponents, enemies, and there are quite a bit of them. After you do that and you've customized yourself, you can log in or link your account, which is pretty much you just have like a password. But I would highly advise to do that inside the first couple minutes of having the game, just so you don't accidentally lose your progress. And be sure to save it to your PC or to your website that you're using. If not, put it on a piece of paper and stick it to your forehead. Okay, so you can change your background. I have chosen the Shaman background. I used to have Kirby, but I decided against it. You have your dark mode, which it's just you can make the screen really bright and really dark. Now, I prefer dark mode because I like playing this game at night, and it hurts my eyes. Then you have disable animations. If you want to do it, you could do it, but it is kind of cool to look at the Pokemon use their specific animations, or else it's just kind of boring in my opinion, but you can do that. You have the BW sprites, which means black and white sprites. So what that means is instead of something like the 3D Pokemon, you'd have these Pokemon inside of their Generation 5 sprites. So they're 2D and they don't move around as much, but if they are from Generation 5 and before, they do move around. But anything from Gen 6 to Gen 8, they don't move around. But I prefer using Gen 5 since I just think it looks cooler. Alright, so then you have modern sprites for past generations. I'm not sure what this means. It probably just means if you play inside of Gen 1, like OU or something, you're going to get modern sprites. I don't like that because I prefer to use the sprites for the specific generation, but that's fine. The chat, you can do whatever you want there, and that's pretty much it. So it's not too important with the whole menu thing, but actually, let me get out of here. Okay, there we go. So let's say you synced yourself up, you made it all perfect, you're really happy with it. So what do you do now? Okay, so to get into it, I would highly advise to do some Generation 8 random battles. Maybe Gen 7 if you're not a big fan of Dynamaxing. You can do whatever you want. How I got into this game is watching specific YouTubers who have helped me at least somewhat understand competitive Pokemon. Now, inside of part 3, I will give you the resources, but inside of this one, I'll just try to explain it best myself. So here are the tiers, or the sections. Now, playing inside of one of these is, yeah, it specifies which Pokemon are allowed or not. So think of it like this. What's a really good Pokemon? Well, let's say Arceus or Mewtwo. Now, of course, those Pokemon are good, so people are really going to want to use those Pokemon. But how about the Pokemon that are not good? The ones that usually would get one shot, or they have no chance on beating those really top tier Pokemon. They're really good. So competitive Pokemon decided they were going to split it inside of a bunch of little sections. So let's just ignore all the past generations. since that's pretty much the exact same. It's just for Gen 7, Gen 6, and all the way down and all that. But let's stay inside of Gen 8. So this is the random battle. You just get a random set and random Pokemon. You pretty much can just get whatever you want. Well, not whatever you want, whatever the game wants you to have. It's fun. It's what most people play on. When you go on Pokemon Showdown, you're going to get a random battle pretty easily, since a lot of people are looking for random battles. But the one that I prefer, and the one I do the most of, is the OU tier. Now, OU stands for overused. Now, this means, well, the Pokemon are used quite a bit. This is like the competitive tier. To be fair, a lot of people do like underused, rarely used, never used, and all that. But this is the one that I see a lot of people using. So below the OU tier is Ubers. Now, Ubers is under OU since OU is played more, but if this was actually ranked, Ubers is the highest tier, meaning that that's where all like the crazy bros go, all the insane people. Now, I don't think there is an Anything Goes instead of Sword and Shield yet. I don't think so. Maybe? No, I don't think so. They're probably going to put it out pretty soon. But Anything Goes is a tier higher than Ubers, and that just allows like 6 of the same Pokemon. There's no sleep clause, so I'll actually get into that later. But Anything Goes is the crazy tier with all the crazy mons. Ubers, it's still crazy, but it has some rules to it. And OU is the one where a lot of the good Pokemon but not broken Pokemon go. Okay. So now moving on to UU, that means underused. It's just Pokemon that aren't overused, they're underused. And then you have rarely used, which is RU, never used, which is NU, PU, which does not stand for anything, I don't think. I think it's literally just standing for like PU as in stinky. Like they're kind of doo-doo. And then you have LC, which means like little cup, like the baby Pokemon. The ones that don't really have a chance to do anything. But if you want to play LC, it's perfectly fine. Quite a bit of people play it. And I think it's pretty fun. Now, then you have monotype. It just means the same type. So a full team of bug types, a full team of poison types, whatever. NFE, not fully evolved. I'm pretty sure that's just any Pokemon that isn't on its final stage. So I think there are going to be some Pokemon there that are really broken. It's like Galarian Corsola. That's probably a broken Pokemon there. Then you have 1v1s. 1v1s, you just pick 3 Pokemon, and you only can put out 1 Pokemon. So it's just which Pokemon can kill the other Pokemon first. Cap, which I haven't done Cap, but it probably means the Pokemon's at level 100. And then the Battle Stadium, which is something that I've never explored. You have all this other stuff, but I don't really dabble inside of that too much, unless you want to do the National Dex, which down here, well, actually they do have National Dex Anything Goes, but they don't have normal Gen 8 Anything Goes. But maybe there are no Anything Goes Pokemon yet. But anyways, the National Dex pretty much just means you can use any Pokemon you want from any generation. Because if you didn't know, inside of Generation 8, they cut quite a bit of the Pokemon, so they, inside of this tier, let you use any Pokemon you want to use, which I think is really fun, and I spend quite a bit of time in that. And then over here you have your Hackmons and almost any ability. I've never done any of these weird things. I think they could be fun. It's just I've never personally dabbled in them. Okay, so now we have the team building. Now, Pokemon Showdown, it is literally made for people to make their dream team. If you guys didn't know, normal competitive Pokemon, well, you probably do know this, relies quite a bit on actually grinding to get these Pokemon, because you don't just get these Pokemon for free. Some of these Pokemon are really hard to find inside the actual games. You have to make sure they have the correct natures, IVs, EVs, items, moves. You could even make them shiny, but instead of this one, it's pretty much just the cheap version. So Pokemon Showdown is a battle simulator. You can just make your dream team, and you don't have to do all the grinding, which is very fun. But let's go inside the team builder. This is the guts of the Pokemon Showdown website. Now, as you see, I have a few teams, nothing like some of the people I've watched, and some of these earlier teams are absolute doo-doo since I kind of just made them myself. And as you see right here, I have all of my Gym Leader Challenge videos. Shout out to that series that I've been doing. But I've been dabbling inside of OU, as you can see from my a lot of OU Pokemon, like Corviknight and Ferrothorn and Excadrill. But let's make a new team. Oh, you also can talk to your robot buddy over here. Yeah. I have no interest in talking to him, but I think he just kind of does what he wants. So let's make a new team. Now, selecting a format is quite important. So if you want to play with every single Pokemon besides the Gen 8 Pokemon, let's say there's a Pokemon that was cut inside of Sword and Shield, you're going to want to do Gen 7 OU. I have to do this for all of my Pokemon Gym Leader Challenge videos, just because if I don't, I am limited on the Pokemon I can use. And since a lot of them were cut in Gen 8, I do Gen 7 OU. And luckily, a lot of people still play Gen 7 OU, since they like to beat me up with their Landorus Therians and all that stuff. Oh, and of course the Magearnas. Never forget the Magearnas. But we're going to do a Gen 8 OU team. So if you want, you could add Pokemon with a URL, which you just like copy paste. Now, some people or some PokeTubers inside of their descriptions, they leave a PokePaste. Now, PokePaste is a website where you can just paste your Pokemon down there, and then people can copy it and paste it inside of Pokemon Showdown. And it really helps if you want to just take a team and use it, but I like to do that sometimes, but usually just with one Pokemon so I can get the set and then build off of it. But, okay, let's build a team. No, a team. Okay, so this is our first Pokemon. As you can see, they are ordered by their OU tier. And you can push more to get more of them. And then UUBL. Now, if there's a BL next to it, that means borderline. So that means they're on the cusp. Now, I'm pretty sure if they are UUBL, that means they're too good to be inside of underused, but they're kind of like smack dab in the middle. I'm not sure exactly what it means, but I think it means that they could go back and forth. But let's say we just want to make a team for OU. Now, to be honest, it is not always insanely fun just to use the best Pokemon in the game, but it does work. So let's just build a team with mostly OU and UU Pokemon, and maybe some UUBL. Okay, but I'm also going to show you the Pokemon chilling down here. I do not want a Bronzong, so as you can see, there are already a lot of Pokemon, and especially on phone, it is quite difficult to click things. But I'm just going to show you every single tier since I think that is worth it, unless I misclick multiple times. So all these Pokemon, it's kind of mandatory for you to understand at least the tiers of these Pokemon. Like, these Pokemon are still good, it's just some of them are less viable than others. So then we have the rarely used tier, and we grabbed a Pokemon, so using it with phone is quite difficult. So, I think I'm just going to slap an overused Pokemon on this, and we're going to build a team off of it. So, there are quite a bit different types of Pokemon out there. So let's just use one that's pretty easy to understand. Conkeldurr is one that I used quite a bit, and he's pretty easy to use. So, you have your EVs over here, and your IVs. Now, your IVs, most of the time you just want max IVs, but let's say you're running like a Trick Room team, you might want to give them minimum IV speed, or the worst speed possible. So, but I don't think Conkeldurr wants to have baby, tiny, boo-boo speed. So, let's give him some EVs. Now, with the EVs, you can cap it out like something like this. This is not what you would probably want to do with a set, but this is what you do. You drag it, and you want to do, most of the time, you want to max it out on one, max it out on the other, and then you have 4 remaining, and you can put that inside of a different stat. So since Conkeldurr is a pretty savage bro, you could run something like max speed, max attack, and some inside of defense or something. Or if you're worried about, I don't know, someone hitting you with like a special attack, you could do max special, or 4 instead of special defense. Now, if you want to specifically go against a certain Pokemon, you can do something like this and give him some extra wonk stats or something. Like, let's say Conkeldurr, he doesn't outspeed a Pokemon that is really dangerous against him unless he has 56 speed. So you'd give him 56 speed, so he just outspeeds, let's say, a Choice Scarf character. Now, if you didn't know, Choice Scarf is just a strong move that makes the other Pokemon faster, but they can only pick one move, and then they have to, and then they're stuck in that move. But let's say you really want to counter that Pokemon, so you put a specific amount of speed. But most of the time, you're just going to want to put max inside of one, max inside of another, and then some inside of some stat that would be helpful. So I don't use Conkeldurr that much. I use him a little bit, and usually I copy-paste him. I know I just said that you probably should make your own, but when I was using Conkeldurr, I copy-pasted him, I admit it. But you could run multiple things with Conkeldurr. You could do kind of a bulky attacker. You could even give him some speed. If you want, you could be kind of a weirdo and give him like a special attack set. That's just what's kind of fun. You could make Conkeldurr a special attacker. I don't think he has many special attacking moves, but that's the Eevees. And if you want, you could do the Smogon analysis where my cursor is right now. And I'm actually going to click that, pause the recording, and I will show you what happens when you click that. Okay, here we are on Smogon. Now, I probably should have mentioned this before, but I think Smogon runs Pokemon Showdown. Do not quote me on that. I'm not smart in the slightest. But this is the Conkeldurr set on Smogon.com. They have a lot of very interesting sets and Pokemon and guides, and they will teach you a lot. This is a very good resource, but if you just want a set to copy paste, you could take it from this. So if you want, you could make it Sun and Moon, X and Y, or Black and White, but we're going to stay inside of Sword and Shield because that's the tier we're using. Okay, so here we have the sprite of the Pokemon, the type, which is Pure Fighting, which is pretty cool, the, big boy right there, and his abilities, Guts, Iron Fist, Sheer Force, and then his tier, which is Overused, which means he's not an uber Pokemon, but he is still very good. His stats, which we already saw, his evolutions, and then his strategies in different languages. So this is his OU. This is the one that's most used. So this set is called Guts. Now, the reason this is called Guts is due to his ability, which is Guts. It makes him stronger when he is burnt, which is actually usually when you're burnt, it cuts your attack in half, but I think Guts actually doubles your attack, or at least maybe makes it go up by like 1.5 or something. So here's a set, and if you wanted to, you could take it, and then you could copy it. And now I'm going to go over back to Pokemon Showdown, and I will paste this. And here we are. I just pasted the team in, and now here he is. The Clown Man with his weird cinder blocks is now optimal. So, one thing that I forgot to mention, which I probably should have mentioned, is Natures. Now, as you can see on the Eevee spread, they have a plus and a minus. Now, Natures, as you can see right here, they give some stat buffs to one stat and then a debuff to another. Unless you want a neutral one, which I don't know why you would, since most Pokemon are okay having a debuff. So, of course, this Conkeldurr he has a nature that makes his special attack lower, since Conkeldurr is not known for his special attack, and more attack. So this seems to be the spread that, well, actually, I probably would have used, even if I didn't look at the website. But here he is. He has Flame Orb, which burns him on the second turn. Guts, which actually, let me check what it does. I just gotta make sure. Yeah. If this Pokemon is statused, its attack is 1.5. Yeah, so it actually makes him stronger being burnt. And it doesn't just work for Flame Orb, but it's good to have Flame Orb because it also means that he can't be paralyzed. I think it also means he can't be put to sleep, and he also can't be poisoned. And poison is pretty dangerous since I'm pretty sure you die in like 7 or 8 turns when you're toxic. And I'll get into moves later, it doesn't really matter. But yeah, here's his EV spread, here's all the stuff, and his moves. Now, moves, well, they make up the Pokemon. This Conkeldurr, he has a very standard set. He has Drain Punch, which deals damage and heals them. Mach Punch, which hits first. It has priority, because inside of this game, there's attacks that are just normal, and those are calculated by speed on who goes first. So if there's this really slow Pokemon, which uses Tackle, and then there's really fast Pokemon that uses Tackle, the Pokemon with the higher speed is going to go first. Unless the Pokemon who has the slower speed has a priority move. Now, I'm pretty sure there are different types of priority moves. I think there's +1 priority, +2 priority, and maybe +3. So it kind of makes sense. +3 priority would beat out +1 priority. It's kind of obvious. So like E-Speed or Extreme Speed, I'm pretty sure that has +2 priority, so it goes faster than Quick Attack, which only has +1 priority. And of course, E-Speed or Extreme Speed goes faster than a normal Pokemon because it has, priority, which means it always goes first. And there are some abilities out there that make moves go first regardless, but that doesn't really matter. So if you want to specifically sort for a type of move, let's say you want your Conkeldurr to have some kind of bug move, you could click the bug section and he doesn't learn any bug moves. Yeah, that's fine. Kind of makes sense that you can't learn that. But you can look for the type, the category, which only is physical, special, and status. And to be honest, most of them you want them to be physical. Well, all of them inside of this case. The power, which organizes them by how much power they do. So we have Focus Punch that does 150, and then we can go all the way down to the bottom, which I actually am kind of curious. It's probably some really weak move. Yeah. It's the moves that don't do anything. That makes more sense. But his lowest attacking move is 25, so that's perfectly fine. I don't think there is any move that does like 10 damage. I'm not sure, but I'm actually going to give him Drain Punch just because he's looking kind of sad right now. So let's give him Drain Punch. Drain Punch. There we go. So this is a set. This is usually what they use. You don't have to use it, and you can adapt it however you want. If you want, you could switch out, let's say, now Conkeldurr is a fighting type, so he's weak to flying. Maybe you could teach him like a rock type move and replace for Facade. That's kind of just how it works. Speaking of type advantages, that's one of the most important parts of Pokemon. Now I'm going to move over to a type matchup chart and I will show you that. So let's get into that. Alright, here we are on Ranked Boost, which has a Pokemon Sun and Moon type chart. Now you might be like, oh, this isn't Sword and Shield. Well, it doesn't really matter since I don't think the type matchups changed from that generation. Inside of X and Y, they did add the Fairy type, but they haven't really added too many new types. But here are all the type matchups. I would highly advise to either go find your own version of this or just rewatch this video or something and give me more views. I don't know. But here are all the type matchups. So over here, you have all the types, and then on the top, of course, you have all the types. And this says what's strong on them, how powerful these moves are. Now, if they have it 2 times, that means it's 2 times effective and they do double damage. If you have 0.5, that means that they do half the damage that they normally would on a neutral Pokemon. And if they just have 1 times, that's a normal move. That means they're just normal effectiveness And if they have 0 times, that means that the Pokemon is immune to getting hit by that, which makes sense. So like normal types, they can't hit ghosts, and ghosts, they can't hit normal types. So, you know, if you have a Pokemon with full normal type moves and a Pokemon with full normal type moves, and no, normal type and ghost type, then they can't really hit each other. Unless one of them has the ability Scrappy, which I think makes it so normal types can hit ghost types. But that doesn't really matter. Well, it does, but I don't see many people using Scrappy. But you have all the type matchups. As you can see, there are quite a bit of Pokemon types that have high resistances, and then you have the types that have a lot of super effective hitting moves. Like, let's find one. Ground. Ground hits a lot of types, really super effective. And then you have, let's say, what's another one? Psychic, which only hits 2, super effective. So some types I have to say are better than others. And of course then you have normal, which hits nothing super effective, unfortunately. But there are some types that are better than others. Like ice. Oh my goodness. Ice ain't that good. Dang, man. I didn't know ice was that bad. Like, I knew ice was bad, but ice is really bad. Okay. Jeez. But there are some good ice type Pokemon, but ice is considered the worst type. And rock, and maybe bug, depending on who you're talking to. But all Pokemon types are viable, especially if there's a broken Pokemon that has it. Like, ice type was kind of, like, sneezed on. Not many people used ice types until Galarian Darmanitan came out and absolutely dick punched the meta, and now the meta is all torn up thanks to Galarian Darmanitan. So thank you, Galarian Darmanitan, with your choice band ability, and you can also shove a choice band on you. Or a choice scarf. That's stupid. But here's the matchup chart. Now I'm going to go back over to Pokemon Showdown and probably go over 1 or 2 more things. Alright, we're back on Pokemon Showdown, and before I wrap up this video, I think it's probably good just to give you guys some more information. So, of course, you have the battles, which I'm going to get into next battle, or next video, where I actually build a team. So, basically, you guys know everything you need to know about this. If you want, you could go on the ladder and see who's a god. So, if we go over to Gen 8 OU, we have Low Geeks Dorito, or yeah. So, inside of this game, people are considered good by how much ELO they have. That is a point system inside this game, and if you have high ELO, you're good. I have pitiful ELO, like absolutely pitiful. I don't think I've got to 1100 yet. Nope, I don't think so. It doesn't matter. I'm still trying. And then if you want, you could find someone, which, you know, I used to find some friends of mine, and then you could play with them and challenge them to battles and have some fun times. Or you could watch battles, and specifically, if you wanted to watch like some really good players go against each other, you could do that and learn quite a bit from that. Then they also have join a chat. I've never personally done that, but you could probably go on the chat and talk to some people about, I don't know, a broken Pokemon that's been ruining your day and making it really hard for you to compete inside the metagame, like Landorus Therian. But that's pretty much the beginning of Pokemon Showdown if you want to get into it. Next video, I'll get into more of the juicy details on team building and stuff, and hopefully you guys stick with me for that. With that being said, thank you guys for watching, and keep on lookout for my videos.